Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Coco Bandicoot here, and I am back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of WarioWare Move It for the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we've essentially did manage to tackle through two stages in particular, both of which are Wario and Mona. Even though, mind you, about the fact that we did somehow manage to able to already unlock every single micro games in Wario stage, except in Mona stage, but that's just clearly because about the fact that we did somehow screwed up in Journey Forms of it level 2 variant of Candle Bear, but that's just mainly because the motion controls are pretty much not perfect by any means, but regardless of everything else though, we did somehow manage to did ourselves a rough performance in regards of the forms of our second run for the likes of certain stages. So, but that's just only just the beginning though. So today, for this video, is about the fact that we're going to be tackling through two more stages. So I figure we're most able to tackle through Dr. Crygor, Penny, and Mike's stage first. And then after that though, I'm pretty sure I'm also able to actually go ahead and do with the forms of Ashley and Red stage after this though. So either way though, it looks like that yet again we're about to able to actually come across into not only one new form we can able to actually just try to able to perform, but it's also about the fact that we got ourselves the returning form based off from WarioWare's smooth moves, which as far as I can tell, that two of those forms we're about to able to encounter, which there are Massage and Big Cheese. So this will be interesting. So either way, let's hop in.
A curious case of cave art.
Says here these were drawn by a real caveman. Huh?
Yes, I've got it. Behold my latest invention! The Time Obliterator 5.0!
Wow!
We'll use it to observe the creation of this masterpiece.
It worked! You're amazing!
Look.
What a charming little creature!
It's just so meh. If only there was something new I could draw.
Creative inspiration! You did it! Just perfect! Yes! I have created the future of art!
Well then, I was not expecting about the fact that, oh yeah, every once in a while though is about the fact that it's always important to know that much like the Wii Remote, always have to make sure we do need to able to actually attach the actual strap on, because there will be a few occasional moments where in certain micro games we do need to able to let go of the Joy-Cons occasionally, so...
Massage. The voice from above speaks. Perform a grip hold with both hands held straight out in front of you. Your palms should be facing down. The voice used this form to care for those who built its temple. The workers' exhaustion was magically lifted. As a result, the voice could work them even harder, and the job was done in 3 days.
And let's get to it with the first form in this stage, which appears to be Massage. So, and obviously we have to empty out the every single tissues on that tissue box to be able to actually see what's inside in this box.
Big Cheese. The voice from above speaks. Perform a grip hold with the palms of your hands to your hips, thumbs forward. Then, puff out your chest. This was a form initially reserved for royals. One day, a king did the Big Cheese in public. It spread quickly amongst the people, and as such, they're all a little cheesy.
And so we've met again with the Big Cheese, except this time we now need to use 2 Joy-Cons instead of 1 specific controller. So as a result, it plays pretty similar to the forms of how it does it in WarioWare Smooth Moves, basically. So either way, and we're going back into Massage again, so except the fact that we need to able to actually open up this particular capsule from that particular capsule machine. So everything else will become to expect, and there are some other things I would like to point out as well, but I'll save that particular topic until whenever we get onto the second run on the stage.
Trust tether sign. When this glyph appears, be ready to drop your form stone. Ensure the strap is attached and muster the courage to let go. But be sure you see the glyph first. If the voice has not revealed one, then never drop your form stone.
So yes, you see what I mean about the fact that the wrist strap accessory for your Joy-Con controllers is more important than anything else. Because otherwise, if you don't have that particular strap thing with you, obviously there might be a chance you might accidentally break your Joy-Con. So because of that though, that is where we stumbled across into ourselves Trust Tether sign. So every time whenever you do manage to see that particular let go of the Joy-Con symbol popped up, that means about the fact that we have to do that particular motion. So because of that though, like for instance, we do need to feed those specific food for that particular bird right there. So, and honestly, I have nothing else to say about the forms of this particular stage, about the fact that no matter what though, I kind of believe about the fact that Dr. Crygor has the ability to able to actually travel back in time, to able to actually make the entire, well, it's hard to explain really, because I know for a fact it's been about a couple of hours since I actually have last played this game for sure. Although mind you about the fact that, like I said before, this is only just the beginning, and exponentially speaking I was about the fact that, well, hopefully though, we can able to actually tackle through 2 of those stages in between each video, basically. So, there are a few exceptions here and there, but that'll be besides the point, until next week. Oh jeez, I was able to lay down for a bit, so either way though, or just lay back. So, anyways, let's just go ahead and do some bit of pumping to try to escape from that particular black ball of any sorts. So either way, let's go back onto the Big Cheese and help out one of those monkeys in particular to grab certain bananas. And let's see what the boss stage actually has in store for us in this stage. And it looks like the Big Cheese now deserves the actual boss stage this time around. So, and I believe in this particular boss micro game, we somehow ended up becoming Snow White, which, fundamentally speaking though, this particular boss micro game is actually called Poison Apple, where basically though we need to able to tilt our body to able to actually guide that particular poison thing out of this particular fluid. So, in every once in a while though, we do need to dodge a lot of hazards, ranging from not only for the spikes, but as well as the forms of this very weird liquid. So, all in all, it was actually pretty self-explanatory, especially concerning for the fact I do know about the fact that this boss micro game almost inspires by Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, basically, so... Oh yeah, I totally forgot that Wario did appear in the actual ending of this particular stage, but overall, we actually did that particular stage no problem, especially concerning for the fact that luckily, unlike in Mona's stage, that we stumbled across into a control problems. So thankfully though, in Dr. Crygor, Penny, and Mike's stage, that's how we didn't seem to able to have any issues when it comes to controls and everything. So either way, let's go back into that stage again, because obviously though, we are still missing a couple of micro games from time to time. But either way though, let's get into the forms of the actual today's topic at this point, and that's what appears to be some more news I would like to discuss. Well, before I get into more details about that though, obviously though, it's about the fact that today's date, of course, there is the 7th of July today, in some cases in 2024 today. So, I believe we've only got about 19 more days to go until the Paris Olympics 2024 opening ceremony is almost about to be starting. So either way though, still I'm basically excited for it, and as a result about the fact that no matter what though, I'm just so curious to check out breakdancing events. So anyway, let's talk about the forms of another topic at this point, and that's what appears to be on the subject when it comes to the forms of Super Mario Party Jamboree coming up. I can't even believe they somehow managed able to bring in not only one Bowser, but two Bowsers on screen. So, for instance, we're about to be playing as Bowser ever since in Super Mario Party, so I'm curious to know how come there was actually two Bowsers in Super Mario Party Jamboree. My guess is about the fact that ever since about the fact that you know how the fact that Kamek doesn't gonna be playable in Super Mario Party Jamboree, sadly. But regardless of everything else though, is about the fact I'm pretty sure that Kamek is gonna be the host of Super Mario Party Jamboree alongside with Yellow Toad. So no matter what though, I'm thinking about the fact that the reason why that the second counterpart of Bowser did somehow showed up, at least in one of those specific footage of Super Mario Party Jamboree, is most likely because that particular bigger purple variation of Bowser was actually being casted by Kamek's spell. Because as far as I'm aware, obviously though, we're going to be playing as Bowser in Super Mario Party Jamboree, just like in Super Mario Party, alongside with technically Mario Party 10, only with two modes, which are Bowser Party alongside with Amiibo Party. That's just mainly because about the fact that you do able to actually have Bowser Amiibo figure on Amiibo Party, and as far as I'm aware when it comes to Bowser Party, that was the main selling point of Mario Party 10 in mind, despite the fact that it did decently well, unlike the forms of how it does it in well, let's just say both Mario Party Star Rush alongside with the Top 100, that those two games in particular did not sell very well. But that's just mainly because it was on the 3DS, and everyone else is expecting to able to try to get the Nintendo Switch until 2017. So you probably get the idea about that. So anyways, and there's also another thing that technically Sonic did somehow mention about briefly in regards to the forms of Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric Let's Play, and that's what appears to be about the fact that, okay, I honestly have no idea what the heck just happened right there. There might be a few occasional moments where I accidentally press the pause button, so I'm guessing it's most likely because sometimes, like I said before, the controls are not exactly that perfect though. I'm gonna say this that much. So anyway, he did mention about the fact that there is actually, yes indeed, the final game has been revealed thanks to the forms of that particular most recent Nintendo Direct sometime in June 18th in this year. And ladies and gentlemen, we are finally get ourselves with our new information, not just by the forms of some new information, but a brand new trailer and the new name for that particular game we all been waiting for after 7 years since when it first announced back in E3 2017. And ladies and gentlemen, we are finally going to be having Metroid Prime 4, specifically Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and as a result, not only does it show us a new gameplay footage, which it looks spectacular by the way, but it's also about the fact that we actually got ourselves a release date for the game, and it's about to due out at some point until next year in 2025. So yeah, that seems pretty cool. I'm not exactly sure if it's gonna be like a cross-gen release, just like the forms of how it does it that. Do you guys even remember back in 2006 when Nintendo was gonna be releasing The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, that not only was it gonna be able to be releasing on the Nintendo GameCube, but eventually at some point for the Wii as part of the actual Wii launch title. So no matter what though, it's about the fact that that could be also applied in back in 2017, where Nintendo has been released The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, not only for the Wii U, but for the Nintendo Switch as well. Like, the Nintendo Switch version is basically a launch title for the system, so because of that though, gee, no wonder why that a lot of people seem to able to prefer playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Nintendo Switch rather than the Wii U. Well, that's just mainly because it is so awesome to able to actually play that game on the go, because obviously though, what makes Nintendo Switch so special is about the fact that you can able to actually do multiple play sessions from time to time, ranging from, you know, handheld mode, so you can play the actual device on the go, and even especially noticeable just trying to able to play the thing on TV mode, to able to actually see the amazing graphics and stuff like that for most other games, potentially, and on top of that, played the actual system on tabletop mode, so just to ensure about the fact that you can all gather around and stuff like that. So yeah, that's actually super dope and everything. And then, I'm curious to know about the fact that until next month, which appears to be August, I'm a little bit more optimistic about the fact that how the actual, the sales units were able to start to increase slightly, and I'm really curious to know if Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door were able to actually increase the actual sales numbers, because unlike the GameCube original, that obviously though is about the fact you probably already know, getting the original GameCube version is actually really hard to come by these days, especially concerning with the forms of the economy when it comes to the actual price tags, that obviously though is going to get ridiculously expensive. Whilst thankfully though, the Switch remake is now exist, so that was actually a nice alternative way to able to actually experience Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. So either way though, speaking of which though, is about the fact you probably already noticed that I've recently 100% everything in Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door on Switch, and overall I had a blast playing for that version of the game, especially concerning for the fact that the only downside I can probably think about is of course the frame rate, but apart from that, that particular remake of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, my goodness, it is amazing. And without a doubt, without a doubt, is one of my favorite Mario RPGs I've ever played, next to the forms of Mario Luigi Bowser's Inside Story for the DS, alongside with the forms of course, Super Mario RPG, and of course, Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope. I would have expected to able to also include Kingdom Battle, but I will admit it though right away, is that the grid-based format is actually very difficult for me to try to get a learning curve, so, but that's besides the point. So, anyways though, and for my final thoughts of that particular most recent Nintendo Direct, with that particular June 18th in mind, I think without a doubt it's really dang good. It's not the best though, but regardless of anything else though, I will say it is the best way to able to actually end things off with the actual Nintendo Switch lifespan before Nintendo decides to move along to the forms of the next Nintendo system. We still have no idea what the actual name is going to call it, but we'll have to wait and find out, and during at some point, and possibly until by the end of the year, or to be more specifically 2025 for some time. So, we shall see. So, anyways though, and as far as I'm concerned, that I can't believe by saying this is about the fact that much like the Nintendo 3DS games of Mario games basically, that it looks like no matter what though, that the Nintendo Switch has recently got, at this current point in time, not counting the forms of the eShop games ranging from Super Mario Bros. 35, alongside with the forms of Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Obviously, those about the fact that I'm more referring to as the physical games, to be more specifically, that it looks like we're about to be receiving 34 Mario games on the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, that's actually pretty insane if you ask me, especially concerning for the fact that much like the, let's just say, the Nintendo Wii for instance, obviously though Mario has simply dominated everything when it comes to that particular system itself, ranging from not only the Nintendo Wii, alongside with, you know, nowadays the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, that's actually really awesome to me, especially concerning for the fact that obviously though is about the fact that unlike several franchises ranging from The Legend of Zelda is actually doing really dang good when it comes to the forms of releasing certain games on the Nintendo Switch. Like, as a result, I think, fundamentally speaking though, at least if we do want to count the upcoming game of Echoes of Wisdom, it may look like that The Legend of Zelda franchise has got, I would say, 7 games total for the Nintendo Switch, not counting the forms of that particular ND game, by the way, so I just want to classify that. And as far as I'm aware, that when it comes to Kirby though, he did somehow manage to able to have 3 standalone games when it comes to physical releases and stuff like that, and there's also 3 other games for the eShop exclusives, so making a grand total of 6 games total when it comes to Kirby games on the Nintendo Switch, which is pretty impressive all things considered. So either way though, Oh yeah, and another thing is worth noting for, as far as I did somehow manage to find out, that there's actually going to be yet another remastered game is going to be on its way, until specifically also in 2025, and that game in questioning is, let's just say Tomba 2, The Evil Swine Return. Obviously that game, for what I've heard anyway, it did somehow came out on a PlayStation long time ago, but as far as I'm aware, I definitely heard about it, but I haven't exactly got that game, mainly because no matter what though, I'm still basically trying to save up when it comes to trying to able to be pre-ordering the last few Nintendo Switch games before we move on to the next Nintendo system. So, and oh, would you look at that? We've got every single micro games for Dr. Crygor, Penny, and Mike. So yeah, that's actually pretty fantastic, especially considering, as you can tell, we actually did pretty good so far. 41 points. So yeah, that's actually not too shabby right here. So, yeah, I guess that pretty much does it for that stage, and now let's move on to the next stage, and that's what appears to be Ashley and Red. Although, I was originally go ahead and trying to choose Orbulon stage, but I have to be honest here, it's probably best if we're able to actually save that stage up during at some point until on next Saturday, because as far as I'm aware, the actual uploading schedules for WarioWare Move It is most likely going to take place in a weekend, similar to the forms of how it does it on Get It Together. So, anyway, so once again we have two forms to learn, so this time what appears to be by the forms of Tug of War and Scales, so this will be interesting.
Caveat Imptor.
Hey! Devilishly delicious!
Down here! I'm all tiny! Get me back to normal already!
Okay. Enormo size. Status quo ante.
Just make me again!
Berry Kazam. Here, Red. Eat this. It should help.
Okay!
Okay, so it looks like it's up to us to able to actually help Red, because it looks like Red has gone a lot smaller, so now we need to able to try to help him out to grow back into its normal size.
Scales. The voice from above speaks. Perform a grip hold with both arms outstretched to the sides. Your thumbs must be on top. The tilt of your body reflects the imbalance in your heart. In order to master the Scales form, one must empty one's pockets. The smallest piece of lint can lead to disaster.
Okay, so here we go with Scales, so this means I have to stretch my arms out. So, in some cases though, yeah, the one on the left is actually way heavier than the ones on the right, so pretty simple.
Tug of War. The voice from above speaks. Perform a grip hold with both hands in a straight line in front of your navel. Your dominant hand must be in front. 1, 2, 3, pull! The voice taught that everyone must pull their weight. Failure to do so would be over the line.
And so much so, we've met again with Tug of War ever since in Smooth Moves. Except this time, like I said before, we now need to acquire 2 Joy-Cons instead of just 1. So, unlike the Wii Remote in Smooth Moves. So, or in some cases form baton back in Smooth Moves, because it looks like to me though that these form stones are basically kind of like the equivalent to form baton from Smooth Moves, except the fact that obviously form baton is like a shape of the Wii remote, whilst the form stones will actually act out as a shape of those Joy-Cons. So makes sense to me anyway. So anyways though, let's talk about the forms of another topic at this point, and that's what appears to be about the fact that out of nowhere, it looks like that when it comes to Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, specifically on the PlayStation 4 version, alongside with the PlayStation 5 version, it will contain the long version of the prologue animation, Dark Beginnings. So no matter what though, if you ever own the Switch version, alongside with the forms of the Xbox versions, ranging from Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, I'm afraid you're out of luck, because obviously though, the only way you can able to actually see the extensive version of, you know, Dark Beginnings animation, you have to specifically try to get not only the PlayStation 4 version, as well as the PlayStation 5 version. Although most people seem to really want able to go for the PlayStation 5 version nowadays, because as far as I'm aware, PlayStation 5 is the most recent PlayStation at the time, so makes sense, I guess, I suppose. So, despite the fact I still have no idea how am I supposed to get the PlayStation 5 to begin with, especially concerning for the fact that I'm pretty sure we've only got about 3 more months left until Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is going to be releasing. So, I'm still really hoping about the fact that that game will be releasing on the Switch successor, hopefully though, which I'm really hoping that'll be the case. So, either way, now it's time for the boss micro game in Ashley and Red stage, and it requires scales, so I wonder what we're going to be doing here. Okay, so it looks like we're about to become an Icarus, apparently. So no matter what though, this boss micro game is actually called Flight of Icarus. So basically though, in this one we need to able to dodge a lot of stuff here and there, while at the same time though we have to keep on flapping our wings, just in case you don't able to actually keep on wasting your hearts, because if you run out of hearts, you have to try again. So of course, much like the forms of how it does it on the previous WarioWare games, if you failed the boss micro game for the first time around, obviously though there's a chance you can able to actually try again. So obviously though nothing else has changed around here, although if you really want to able to go back onto reruns, not able to actually go after more micro games, obviously though you can able to move along to the next level, ranging from level 2, level 3, and you name the rest. So either way though, yeah, pretty simple indeed. And that pretty much does it for this stage, on the first run anyway.
Yeah, it's working! It's working, Ashley! I'm back and good as new! Huh? Wait! What? Ah!
What did you do to me?
Okay, I was not expecting about the fact that apparently Red goes all ginormous. So, anyway though, there's also another thing I want to point out in regards to the forms of what's going on recently. Out of nowhere as well, it looks like for those of you who lived in European countries, or the UK countries to be more specifically, well, it looks like that Splatoon 3 plus Expansion Pass bundle is now going to be confirmed for European countries. And according to the forms of the actual release dates department, is about to due out at some point on the 25th of July, whilst unlike the forms of how it does it in the Japanese version as far as I could recall, I believe the Japanese release is going to be releasing until, let's just say on the 18th of July, around the same time as the forms of Nintendo World Championships NES Edition or something, and as far as I can definitely tell, yes, it did say for the fact that it will, released on the 18th of July. So, and I believe it will actually contain, in terms of content-wise, not only it will contain the main game, alongside with all the DLC content will be included. Additionally, there's also going to be a 3-month subscription to the Nintendo Switch Online is packed in. So, obviously, just in case if you really want to experience online play, but either way, that's as far as I can try to say about it. And also out of nowhere, that I've somehow discovered in journey forms of, let's just say, the Japanese website or something like that, when it comes to the forms of Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, it may look like we're about to be getting a yet another playable character, if it's possible. Mind you, it did say coming soon, but that's just mainly because no matter what though, we'll have to wait and see what happens during at some point when the actual game comes out for Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. So yeah, I'm a bit optimistic about this, especially concerning for the fact that there's a lot of speculations that's been going on. So either way though, and it was also I did somehow manage to find out in regards to the forms of the Super Nintendo world, specifically in Japan anyway, it looks like that the Daisy mascot did somehow exist in Universal Studios in Japan, and as a result, Daisy mascot was actually on a go-kart on the parade. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool and interesting at the same time. So either way, and there's also another thing I want to point out as well. It may look like, in regards to the forms of that particular free update has already been revealed, for the sake of the forms of Disney Illusion Island, that it looks like the actual free DLC update is gonna called Mystery in Monolith. I think it's what it says anyway. So no matter what though, I've got nothing else to say about it, especially concerning for the fact that I still haven't got that game though. Well, that's just mainly because, like I said before, I'm still begging to able to try to pre-order not only The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, but it's also with the forms of Super Mario Party Jamboree, and of course Mario Luigi Brothership, and of course Sonic Cross Shadow Generations for multiple platforms. Well, not all 4 of them per se, because obviously though we are still aiming for not only the Xbox One version, but as well as the PlayStation 4 version, and also the Switch version. And I think, well, it's hard for me to say honestly, because I know for a fact that we're still on the forms of July for right now. So either way though, back onto the forms of Flight of Icarus once again. So again, sometimes the actual motion controls can be pretty much hit and miss most of the time, especially concerning for the fact that I swear I did somehow manage to able to swung my not only my left arm, but it's also with my right arm as well, just in case it will actually register my movement sometimes. But sometimes though is about the fact that again the actual calibration is not perfect by any means. I mean, still there might be a couple of times we might come across into control problems. So whilst unlike the forms of how it does it in WarioWare Smooth Moves, that I will admit though, the controls in that game is remarkably perfection, especially concerning for the fact that I don't seem to able to stumble across into too many issues with the Wii Remote, apart from the fact that there was a battery problem, but either way though, that's for a topic for a later time. So either way, and as to be expected, we got ourselves our life back, so, and now we are moving on to level 2 for certain micro games in Ashley and Red. So, anyways though, and by the way, I really love the actual music is going on in the background if you're trying to pull off that particular pose in that particular transition right here. So either way though, yeah, it's actually quite not only relaxing, but it's also about the fact that this is the reason why I love Summer so much. So either way though, that's what I can really think about it. So anyways, let's go and poke these things right here, so just in case if I was gonna, there we go. In a split second to react, so that's why I did somehow found out, thanks to the forms of specific dialogue if you do manage to able to complete several of micro games by split seconds for that particular reaction. So anyways though, as far as I'm aware, when it comes to the forms of Super Mario Party Jamboree, that most of these spaces does make a return, ever since during the forms of it not only in Super Mario Party, but as well as Mario Party Superstars, that basically though we can still able to see not only the start space, which that space only exists if you manage to start off the actual any of the boards, and as far as I'm aware, blue spaces will make its return alongside with the red spaces, event spaces, item spaces, lucky spaces, versus spaces, Bowser spaces makes a return, and despite the fact that we're going to be technically going to be playing as Bowser, at least for the majority of the game I'm pretty sure, and then that's the reason why about the fact that we can now realize about the fact that there's now 2 Bowsers in that particular game this time around. So, and there's also worth noting for that there's going to be an unlucky space that's going to make its return after the events of technically Mario Party 10. So no matter what though, yeah, it's been about almost 10 years ago since we've actually last seen the unlucky spaces since Mario Party 10, and as far as I'm aware, the chance time space is also going to make its return as well. So yeah, nothing else I can really say about it. And there's also another thing it's worth noting for, is about the fact that one thing that Sonic has totally forgotten to mention about, in regards of the forms of, you know, for that particular topic I was going to be mentioning about next, and that's what it appears to be with the forms of Super Monkey Ball, Banana Rumble. And what do I mean by that though? Well, as far as I'm aware, is about the fact that we've already managed able to actually access to the Sacred Pass already. But actually, as it turns out, it's about the fact that there's even more stuff has been included for the sake of the forms of the Sacred Pass. Like, for instance, there's going to be some specific costumes is going to be on its way. Specifically, they just somehow managed able to reveal 5 Sacred character costumes for Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, ranging from Shadow the Hedgehog, Knights, Golden Axe's Gellius, Thunderhead, and finally Virtual Fighters Ikaria, I think is what it says anyway, and yeah, nothing else I can really say about it, honestly, especially concerning for the fact that despite the fact that we still have to wait for a certain amount of months until the actual specific stuff will be now accessible, which is a bit of a pain though, honestly, but regardless of anything else though, I don't mind waiting for a while, especially concerning for the fact that much like the forms of how it does it in not only Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but alongside with the forms of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as well, so just so I'm sure for the fact that I can able to wait for some time. So anyway, and there's also another thing I want to, well, point things out as well, despite the fact that I have to be able to keep on flapping my wings from time to time while trying to dodge a lot of hazards while going for the actual waterfall, which is pretty insane if you ask me. So either way, we did somehow manage able to succeed for the 3rd time for that particular Let's Play anyway. So anyways, let's see. Oh jeez, can I perform that? Oh, well I can, but sometimes though, that again, the actual calibration is not that great. So, and yeah, there's going to be some warning signs from time to time, just to ensure for the fact that you don't want to able to actually get too exhausted, or in some cases though, you don't want to get too close to the TV, much like the Wii Remote, for the sake of WarioWare smooth moves. So, along with any other Wii games back in the day, including Wii Sports, so, makes sense I guess. But anyway, speaking of which though, when it comes to the forms of certain playable characters they did somehow revealed for Super Mario Party Jamboree, like I've already mentioned about this before, that I'm glad that Toad and Toadette are now finally become playable after the events of Mario Party Star Rush, but there's also about the fact that, as usual, there's Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Rosalina, Yoshi. Bodo did somehow returns after the events of Superstars, which is pretty good. And as I mentioned this before, both Toad and Toadette are finally managed to make its playable debut again after the events of Mario Party Star Rush. Like I said so many times already, that's just mainly because I am super excited to able to play those two characters again. So, anyways, alongside with that, there's also Wario, Waluigi, Donkey Kong, Bowser, Bowser Jr., Goomba, Koopa Troopa, Shy Guy, Boo, Spike, Monty Mole, and the newest one in the lineup is Ninja, at least for right now. And I'm very still surprised about the fact that Spike did somehow make its return, become playable character after the events of Mario Party 10. And I'm very appreciative about the fact that we've almost got every single playable characters from Mario Party's past. Like, for instance, we can actually play every single playable characters based off from Mario Party 1, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, and technically Mario Party 4 if you want to count 6 extra playable characters, well, minus the forms of Koopa Kid, because obviously though, Bowser Jr. is now steal the spotlight for Koopa Kid or Mini Bowser for those of you who lived in European countries. Alongside with that, with Mario Party 5, and we've got the majority of the playable characters based off from Mario Party 6, aside from Koopa Kid, and same applies with the forms of Mario Party DS, Mario Party Island Tour, Mario Party 10, and that's as far as I can try to explain about that. Although there are some missing characters for sure, like for instance about the fact that we have no idea if Diddy Kong will make its appearance in Super Mario Party Jamboree, alongside with Hammer Bro and Dry Bones, and even especially noticeable with Pom Pom as well. So either way though, I don't think it's possible we can able to actually access to every single playable characters based off of Mario Party 9. Well, this is clearly because Kamek is not going to be playable once again. But oh well, it's not the end of the world personally though, because I'm still more excited able to actually play as both Toad and Toadette again after the events of, you know, Mario Party Star Rush. I will promise you guys, I'm probably not going to be able to say that multiple times over and over and over and over again, but I'm just still basically excited to be able to actually experience a brand new Mario Party game. And believe it or not though, I think this might actually be the final Mario Party game to be released on the actual Nintendo Switch, because as far as I'm aware, we have no idea if the next new Mario Party game we're going to be releasing until 2027 or something like that. But we shall see what happens, especially concerning for the fact that, well, obviously we're still on 2024, so yeah, that's as far as I can think about it. Looks like we're doing not too shabby right here, especially concerning for the fact that, after all, we did somehow manage to able to complete level 3 of Flight of Icarus. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool and awesome at the same time. So yeah, take a breaks regularly, just in case if we get too exhausted for certain situations. Obviously though, that'll be the best strategy to think about. So, or should I say the best advice, if you manage to play the game long enough. So, because you know, it requires you able to actually do a lot of moving around and stuff like that. So, is it just me, or is that we are about to be fighting against with the Cerberus robot? So, because you know, with the 3-headed dog and stuff like that. So, yeah, nothing else I can really say about that, I guess. I mean, hopefully though we'll find out more about with the forms of how the fact that if more characters will be revealed for Super Mario Party Jamboree. But I'm still basically excited for it, which I can't help it for myself, especially concerning for the fact that, well, it has been a very long while since I actually have last played certain games for Mario Party, since Mario Party Superstars, specifically when it comes to online play. So I'm really hoping about the fact that I can probably able to start be playing through, let's just say, not only Super Mario Party again, but also Mario Party Superstars again, just in case before, you know, Super Mario Party Jamboree will be on its way. So anyways though, is it this guy? Yes it is, because I could definitely recognize this little face and all that stuff. So, oh geez, this one's actually really tricky. But regardless of everything else though, we somehow got 51 points, so that's actually pretty cool for the actual run that we somehow did. So, and I'm curious to know about the fact that did we somehow got every single micro games on Ashley and Red stage? I'm curious to know, because as far as I'm aware, I'm hoping I don't miss one of those micro games. Oh, thank God that I somehow managed to get every single micro games, because again, if I'm missing out on a couple of micro games, I can easily get them off screen, so just in case I can able to show you guys every single aspect. So, apart from one exception. So with that being said folks, is that we're getting endings off this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of WarioWare Move It, and that's what appears to be about the fact that we're going on to the next stage, which appears to be Orbulon. Oh geez, 3 forms. So I'll see you guys until our next Saturday. Later fellas.